All right, guys, so we literally skimmed the surface. That stack of papers is that thick. And that's just one stack that I have. It's not that far out to think that the reptilian Draco created some of these creatures. And I don't believe that they're all created. I think some were on this planet before. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, there's got to be a creation of something, you know? I mean, did God create Dogman? I don't know. To me, if these Draco are fallen angels, or are they aliens? Who knows? I don't know. That's not what I'm getting at. That's not even what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I believe these creatures, these Dracos, these fucking monsters, created other monsters as weapons of war. And not just versus humans, versus their other alien genetics, other alien castes and such. It's not too far off to think that. Why are these creatures lurking around outside of military bases? Why are they outside of these entrances of these underground bases? Just recently in Rene Levasseur Island, I had a subscriber reach out stating that they had seen dogmen protecting the outer walls of, the outer reaches of these bases, the entrances of these bases. A creature that just what we think just hunts the woods of America or Europe or wherever. If you think that, a bloodthirsty, red-eyed dog man from Ohio is, the same type of dog man that is by Rene Levasseur Island protecting the entrance to that base, I think that's a little off. I think these things were genetically modified, genetically engineered. Some. Crawlers. I truly do not believe there is anything natural about crawlers. There's nothing natural. These things were definitely came out of some vat and some alien test tube and boop, there you go. Here's a crawler. They can protect us. From who? Humans. Let's let them out, They'll fight, kill other dogmen, kill humans, kill Bigfoot. It's just... It goes really deep. And the deeper you get, the crazier you get. I heard an interesting thing about Alex Jones. And, you don't have to like the guy. He was wrong on a lot of things. He really was. Especially about, the Connecticut shootings. But he has uncovered things that most people can't fathom to think about. Most people would go crazy. And that's how it feels when we go down these rabbit holes. Because you're never the same once you know the truth. Once you skim that surface, you're never that same person. You're never back. You will never get that innocence back. None of us will. Read Bill Cooper's Behold the Pale Horse. You will never be that same person before you read that book. Thank you guys for supporting this channel. Your support is, after all, what helps the channel to continue to grow and go. And it gives people a place to share their experiences, theories, and ideas, ridicule and judgment free. Just simply treated with the respect that we all deserve. Everyone, please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there. These scenarios are real. It is out there. It's all dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. And until next time, never stop asking questions. Never stop searching for the answers or the truth. And God bless you all. Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have just an upload that is jam-packed full of information. Some information that may really alarm a lot of people, and it should. It really should. Before we get into it, though, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, channel membership are in the description below. Merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because these things really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. And folks, they really do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? All right, guys. So for a while now, I have been really going deep into research on where these things may come from. Are they from interdimensional? Are they naturally created? Or were some of these creatures genetically engineered? And the more I look into Dulce, or more deep underground military bases, DUMBs, I really am starting to feel like the one world government and the aliens are still working together to create some of these creatures. I 100% firmly believe that the crawlers that people are seeing nowadays were genetically created in DUMBs or other kind of facilities like deep underground military bases, but with alien technology. It only makes sense with the information that is coming out. Tom Castello, Phil Snyder, Bill Cooper, all American heroes, all truth bringers, all silenced for bringing information that we should know to our attention. One of the reasons why I feel like a lot of, or a multitude of these creatures that we are seeing were created in some of these deep underground military bases is the simple fact that, well, according to Tom Castello, a Dulce base security tech, Dulce was an underworld city, highly secret base operated by humans as well as reptilian aliens and their worker caste, the commonly encountered Gray. It is here, apparently, that a multitude of experimentation projects are carried out, primarily genetic experiments on men, women, and children who have been kidnapped. There are a myriad of other science projects taking place at Dulce, including, but not limited to, atomic manipulation, cloning, studies on the human aura, advanced mind control, animal/human crossbreeding, visual and audio wiretapping. Well, if we think about the name Dogman, animal, human. Now, I'm not saying all of these things were created in a deep underground military base, and I do not believe they were created recently. I think that not even in our modern day government, not even over in Europe's modern day government, I would say 7,000 years, 1,000 years, 700 to 1,000 years. Possibly. Some may have come from the portals or interdimensional. The Sumerians talk about a dog-headed race of aliens. And it really does make a lot of sense if you think about it. The information that I'm going to share right now with you guys is quite intense. And, well, you'll see why I feel like some of these creatures, not all, but some, are created in genetic laboratories, primarily run by alien. I don't believe that the human race is 100% backing this. I don't believe the New World Order or the One World Government really intended on forming this evil of a pact with these reptilian creatures. I just think that they were forced into it because they want power. They want power to rule the world, but yet are they the most powerful if the aliens are giving them the secrets, giving them the weapons, the information to control the world? No. The alien is. This is very interesting. And Tom Castello replies, they did not create hybrids. The humans at the base did try and create hybrids. As far as Tom knows, in this line of experimentation was a failure. He didn't see any human/alien hybrids. What he did see were alien/animal and human/animal hybrids. The following is a list of questions that were directed to the former Dulce base security officer, Thomas Edwin Castello, roughly 1 year before his death/disappearance. They are followed by his responses. Phil Schneider and Bill Cooper were both executed by the government. One made to look like a suicide, the other made to look like he defied the police. Tom Castello disappeared, is presumed dead. A while after his child and wife were abducted and taken to one of these deep underground military-based genetic laboratories. So let's get into the question and answers. Question: when exactly was the upper human-occupied level of the Archuleta installation constructed? Answer: I heard Dulce was started in 1937 through 38 by the Army engineers. Enlarged over the years, most recent work was completed in 65 to 66 to connect the tunnels to Page, Arizona base, site of one of the older underground facilities. The four-corner base is called Perica. Most of the Native Americans living in that area are aware of that base and could tell us about the underground life forms that frequently are spotted near those communities, Bigfoot and other such cryptids. By what means was the upper installations constructed? Are you familiar with the alleged developments made by the Rand Corporation of a highly efficient bore or mole machine capable of melting rock using nuclear-powered wolfram graphite-tipped drill cones? Answer: According to the several senior maintenance workers, part of it was blasted by nuclear devices in the 60s. There are sections, like the Shuttle tunnels, that were formed by an advanced tunneling machine that leaves the tunnel walls smooth. The finished walls in those tubes resemble polished black glass. Question: by whom was Dulce installation originally constructed? Answer: nature started the caverns. The Draco, the reptilian humanoids, used the caverns and tunnels for centuries. Later, through Rand Corporation plans, it was enlarged repeatedly. The original caverns included ice caves and sulfur springs that the aliens found perfect for their needs. The Dulce Caverns rival Carlsbad Caverns in size. Question: what exactly are the cattle/human organs such as blood, anal tissue, eyes, reproductive organs, tongue, etc. used for? The organs obtained via cattle and human mutilation. Answer: read the so-called Dulce papers. Question: are the various electromagnetical controlled air or spacecraft that have been seen leaving from and arriving to Mount Archuleta manned by humans, the alien entities, or both? Answer: Archuleta Mesa, or Dulce, is a minor area. The crafts leave and are stored in 5 areas. One is southeast of Dulce, one near Durango, Colorado, one at Teos, New Mexico, and the main fleet is stored at Los Alamos. Question: others have suggested that some of the entities below Dulce are not extraterrestrial in origin, and that they are actually described as Sirian or reptoid beings such as a velociraptor or a Stenocrocus, a serpentine race or races similar to that hinted at the 3rd chapter of the book in Genesis. Answer: yeah, some reptoids are native to this planet. The ruling caste of the aliens are reptilian. The beige or white beings are called the Draco. The other reptilian beings are green and some are brown. They were an ancient race on Earth living underground. It may have been one of the draconian beings that tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden. Reptoids rightly consider themselves native Terrians. Perhaps they are the ones that we called the fallen angels. Maybe not. Either way, we are considered the squatters of the earth. Question: some have suggested that the so-called underground ET bases and tunnels may, for a large part, be literally thousands of years old. Constructions of an antediluvian race, which attained to a considerable level of scientific complexity, and who were destroyed by a divinely initiated cataclysm, which took place after they attempted to merge their science with occult/supernatural forces. For instance, some have suggested the Bermuda Triangle phenomena may be a result of an out-of-control Atlantean experiment that led to a space-time disaster, which produced an electromagnetic fallout in the Triangle area and elsewhere after they had accidentally loosened powerful forces and energies into the world that they knew very little about. Do your observations tend to confirm or refute such a possibility? Answer: I'm not sure about the divine part, but these aliens consider themselves native Terrians. Question, where do the little grays aliens fit in? Answer: they work for and are controlled by the Draco. There are other gray-skinned beings that are not in league with the Draco. Question: do you ever talk to any of the aliens on the base? Since I was a senior security tech at that base, I had to communicate with them on a daily basis. If there were any problems that involved security or video cameras, I was the one they called. It was the Reptilian working caste that usually did the physical labor in the lower levels of Dulce. Decisions involving that caste were usually made by the White Draco. When human workers caused problems for the working caste, the reptoids went to the White Draconian boss, and the Draco called me. At times, it felt like it was a never-ending problem. Several human workers resented the no-nonsense or get-back-to-work attitude the working caste lives by. When needed, an intervention became a vital tool. The biggest problem were human workers who foolishly wandered around off-limit areas of the alien section. I guess it's human nature to be curious and to wonder what is past those barriers. Too often, someone found a way to bypass the barriers and nosed around. The cameras near the entrance usually stopped them before they got themselves into serious trouble. A few times, I had to formally request the return of a human worker. Question: are there other sites tied into the shuttle network, other than those which you have mentioned, and if so, where are their entrances? Where? Everywhere. They crisscross the world as an endless subterranean highway. Like a freeway, except this one's underground. The subterranean highway in America is like a freeway, except it's underground. That highway depends on electric motors for trucks, cars, and buses, for the paved roads, and it is for limited travel. There is another style of transit for freight and for passengers that is for rapid travel. That worldwide network is called the subglobial system. It has checkpoints at each country entry. There are shuttle tubes that shoot the trains at an incredible speed using mag-level and vacuum method. They travel at the speed that excels the speed of sound. Part of your question involves the location of entrances to that base. The easiest way to answer that is to say every state in the United States has them. Frequently, the entrances are camouflaged as sand quarries, mining operations, other complex portals are found on military bases. New Mexico and Arizona have the largest amounts of entrances, followed by California, Montana, Idaho, Colorado, Pennsylvania, Kansas, Arkansas, and Missouri. Of all of the states, Florida and North Dakota have the least amount of entrances. Wyoming has a road that opens directly into a subterranean highway. The road is no longer in use, but it could be reactivated if they decide to do so with minimal cost. It's located near Brooks Lake. So, really quick, I just want to point something out. So far, in the last 10 minutes, Tom Castello was not asked about Bigfoot or cryptids, but he immediately brought up Bigfoot and other cryptids. Immediately around these installations. And something that I want you guys to think about, these questions were asked well before Elon Musk was even thought about. Elon was still, probably pooping in diapers during these question and answers. And if you ever listen to old interviews about Elon talking about these shuttle tubes that he wants to design and build, they sound identical to what is already in progress right now, is already being used. Think about that. Think about how crazy that is and what I said about Elon in the live stream. Sorry. Are there any bases in the state of Utah? Have you heard anything about alleged underground installations within the Wasatch Mountains? Salt Lake, answer Lake Powell, Salt Lake, Dark Canyon, Dugway Grounds, Modena, and Vernal all have exits there. Others too. So, I mean, it really just goes deep. Really quick, these are just some keynotes that were written down from the questioner. Not these are not Tom Castello's statements. But with the Utah thing, there have been many rumors of ancient tunnel systems being intersected during the excavations and sub-basement levels below major industries and mall areas in downtown Salt Lake. Various stories surrounding these tunnels include explorers who have entered those tunnels and never returned, reports of lizard people down in the labyrinths, reports of greys working with humans on electronic equipment, and massive building projects going on in huge caverns beneath the mountains to the east. Reports of humans who are part of the Asian-based Agharti Kingdom who maintain colonies within the tunnels and caverns below, and who are in conflict with the Reptillians, Greys, and the group collaborating human fascists from the network of massive underground facilities beneath New Schwebland region of Antarctica, which is the German base. New Schwebland. Reports of men with suits having been seen pacing back and forth through large underground chambers carrying Uzis. Reports of seemingly bottomless shafts, large tunnels strung with lights that are big enough to drive a semi-truck through. Sections of tunnel walls that looked solid, yet which one could put their hands through. Rooms that emanate a strange greenish phosphorescent glow. Abductees who were taken below and encounter all types of aliens. That's just some of the questions that were, or some of the information. This is interesting, though. There's a famous story which is not openly talked about. There were two versions. Both may be true. One version, a Mormon temple worker penetrated an underground tunnel below the square in downtown Salt Lake City and traveled for some distance through a series of underground catacombs until running into a lizard-like man. The creature attempted to attack him, but the man escaped and managed to find his way back to the surface. He began telling other people what had happened, and soon afterward the government arrived in the area and went in and closed off many tunnels leading to the sub-basements of the temple. Presumably, there were some heated debates over how much of the underground system was this denomination was allowed to control. A similar dispute apparently occurred in Southwest, where the LDS Church maintained a large storage facility under Granite Mountain in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Within the upper levels of a vast network of caverns, the fascist CIA elements and the Greys came in, took control of the larger caverns deeper within the mountain, and ordered the vault workers to stay out of the forbidden areas, and stated that the United States government was now using them for national security purposes, and that it was their patriotic duty to maintain this secret. The other version concerned a custodian who entered the tunnel near the cinema area below the Crossroads Mall, across the street and to the south from a temple square. While excavation was being carried out in that part of the mall, a worker entered the tunnel and before long encountered a serpent-type man, beat a hasty retreat, and told his fellow workers what he had seen. The FBI and or local police soon arrived and sealed the tunnel. Another story involving a young man, along with a friend, who used a chain tied to his pickup truck to rip up a manhole cover in the area near the mall and the square. They navigated through the maze with sewer passages underneath and came to a shaft that descended in a series of 5 small rooms, one below the other. and from the bottom room a tunnel led south into a chamber, whereas they saw a seemingly bottomless shaft, a large southwestern tunnel strung with lights and large enough to drive a semi-truck. Footprints of some type of three-toed bipedal creature. Other sources imply early pioneers and settlers of the area explored these tunnels, came into contact with, and in some cases even joined with some of the Talocene, Agharti, and Mayan underground colonies below Salt Lake Flats, Salt Lake Valley, and Western Rockies. Talocene, Agharti, Melchizedek, and Mayan underground colonies below the Salt Lake Flats. These subterraneans had formerly established territorial agreements with the reptilians or reptoids and the greys. The reptoids and the reptilians are different. So the Draco and the reptoids are two different species. The reptoid are a velociraptor-like creature, which, if you think about, very seldom do we hear about these accounts, but usually I've heard of maybe one or two in the Utah area, Salt Lake Flats or whatever, but in Africa, near these precious metal mines. So, if the non-humans, when dealing with the reptilian forces, unconditional surrender should be offered first. And if this is not accepted, then direct military action would be justified, especially in the light of many permanent abductees whom the Grey and the reptilians have taken captive, those who are still alive, to their underground facilities. Most of these treaties that the humanoids made with the reptilians or reptoids down under have since been broken, especially following the Groom Wars of 75 and the Dulce Wars of 79, during which time much of the underground U.S.-based networks, which were funded with American tax dollars, by the way, were taken over by the Greys. Back to the question and answer. A lot of his notes, the person that's taking or asking these questions or asked these questions to Tom Castello were very amazing. But once again, a reference to a three-toed bipedal creature. We've all heard the experiences that people have seen these three-toed tracks. So, I mean, this is not too far-fetched to really think, wow, were some of these creatures created by whoever is underground and, doing these horrific atrocities? Question: does Mount Archuleta shuttle system connect with a shuttle system which is allegedly radiates from Mount Shasta into Northern California? Answer: yes, Mount Shasta is a major site of alien elder race, reptilian race, human meetings, beginning with Grover Cleveland. Every president in the United States history has visited Talos City. Truman was supposed to have visited the lower realms as the high archon of Earth. He was supposed to have met with the king of the world there and gave him the keys to the United States. Once again, I've always said Truman was a bad man. Said it the other day. Oh, man. Then there's some interesting comments from the questioner. These were not, once again, pointed or asked, just his statements. There are several claims that a collaboration with the Reptillian began with a Luciferian cult of Bavaria and was later brought into America via the infiltration of the Scottish Rite and the fascist core of the NSA CIA. There may have been, nevertheless, reptilian presence below North America within the caverns that dates back several centuries. However, a massive reptilian infestation of these underground systems seems to have begun near the beginning of the 20th century. Mount Archuleta may be considered the capital of the alien segment of the secret Bavarian draconian New World Order government in America, with the deep underground systems beneath the Denver International Airport being the capital of the human segment of the secret government. Did you notice any involvement of high-leveled Freemasons, Jesuits, or Rosicrucians within the underground installations and or with aliens? Answer: yes, I did. But that's a loaded question, and I'm not going to comment any further. I'm not a Mason or member of any secret fraternal group. There's one organization I am a member of in the United States. That group is commonly called the Central Unit. It is a pleasure to tell you that I am a member of the Subgalactic League of Costa Rica. Is there any Is there any truth to the allegations that CIA/aliens have established bases on the moon and or Mars? Answer: I've heard that too, but I haven't seen any proof with my own eyes. The aliens do allegedly have bases on several moons of Jupiter and Saturn. The CIA operates in other countries, but I have never heard them operating on other planets. Question: have you heard of any hints or rumors suggesting that there may be lower levels beneath Ultra 7 level of Dulce? And also, where these might lead to and what they consist of? Answer: yeah, and your guess is as good as mine. Sure, there was a lot of talk, but that doesn't mean there is. However, I will tell you I saw elevators that were off limits unless you had an Umbra or higher security clearance. At the base, information is supplied to me on a need-to-know basis only. My clearance was Ultra 7. Question: some insist the United States secret government has developed its own discraft based largely upon top-secret anti-gravity experiments carried out by the Nazi Germany scientists during World War II. Have you heard of anything like this? Answer: when I was working in the photo security, I heard a lot of talk, never saw proof, but once in the Air Force, I developed a roll of film that showed a craft like Adamski with a swastika on the side. Question: Tom, did you have access to the alien crafts? Were you ever inside of any of them? Answer: yeah, I frequently saw them in the garages. There are quite a few of them. The main fleet is stored at Los Alamos. Yes, I've entered several crafts. There were two things that stick in my mind. An odd spongy feeling of the floors and an unusual pinkish purple color of the lighting. The crew stated the floor becomes rigid in flight and the purple tint of the lighting changes to a bright bluish white. The entire inside of the aircraft are scaled down in size when compared to the average human. The halls were curved and narrow, but somehow, when inside, it appears to be bigger than it looks. Certain areas of the outermost sections almost felt and looked alive. I was never taken up in one. Question: can you give me more information on reptilian race and what they do on the 6th level, the area called Nightmare Hall? Answer: The worker caste does the daily chores, mopping the latex floors, cleaning the cages, bringing food to the hungry people and other species. It is their job to formulate the proper mixture for the Type 1 and Type 2 beings that the Draco race have created. The working caste work at labs as well as at the computer banks. Basically speaking, the reptilian races are active at all levels of Dulce. There are several different races of aliens that work on the east section of level 6. No doubt some collaborating Nordic factions included. That section is commonly called Alien Section. The Draco are the undisputed masters of levels 5, 6, and 7. The humans are second in command of those levels. I had to argue with one large draconian boss frequently. His name is difficult to verbalize. It's pronounced with a kahan shishfas. I usually called him Karsh, and he hated that. The draconian leaders are very formal when talking to the human race. These ancient beings consider us a lower race. Karsh called me Leader Castello, but it was used in a sarcastic way. However, the working caste is friendly enough as long as you allow them to speak first. They will answer if you address them. They are very cautious and consider most humans to be hostile. They always seemed surprised when they found many of the humans were open and trustworthy. There was no fraternizing with the aliens in off hours. It was forbidden to speak with any alien race in the halls or elevator without clear business-oriented reason. Humans can talk to humans, aliens can speak to other aliens, but that's as far as it goes. At the work site, however, it's different. There is free speech in the labs. The camaraderie found in the labs also reaches the computer bank section. In those areas, everyone talks to everyone. However, everything changes the minute you cross the threshold of the hall. Instantly, all conversations become strictly formal. Hard as it was, several times I had to arrest someone simply because they spoke to an alien. It was a strange place. Question: exactly what first made you aware that something was wrong at Dulce? Seems to me that a place as obviously horrible as this one wouldn't need an Einstein to know there's crimes going on. What took you so long? Are you the guy that blew the whistle? Answer: there are several things you should know about. I took an oath, under the penalty of death, that no matter what I saw or heard, I would not divulge the information. Also signed a waiver that states I would willingly give up my life if I was found guilty of treason. At the Dulce base, treason is anything that mentions the details of a daily operation. At this facility, when outside the confinement of this base, when I first arrived, a need-to-know policy was erected. The story the honchos told us was that this is a biotransfer facility with advanced technology, doing advanced adventures, mythology for medical and mental gains, which is a fancy way of saying they do some real risky things with human life, just to see what would happen. If a medical cure happens, it's heralded on the surface of the earth as a marvelous new cure, saying it was found after years of research at some well-known medical facility. The real story of the cure is never fully explained. After all, the Dulce base is a secret facility. These people are very good at what they do. They do not tell the truth about the unfortunate people who end up in Nightmare Hall. I worked with aliens. With that in mind, you should get an idea of the secrecy and security of that place. Yeah, I know this was not the usual hospital-type job, but in the beginning, I bought the whole package. I was reminded daily by intercom in the elevators that this site does high-risk advanced medical and drug testing to cure the insanity. Please never speak to the inmates. It can destroy years of our work. Now, I am sensible when doctors say don't speak to them. Who was I to destroy the delicate situation? But one man somehow caught my eye. He repeatedly stated that he was George S. and that he had been kidnapped, and he was sure someone was searching for him. I don't know why he sticks in my mind. I was remembering his face, thinking he sure didn't look or sound insane. But many inmates said that. The next weekend, I convinced a friend of mine, a police officer, to run a check on the guy, saying I had a run-in with him and was curious. I didn't mention the base at all. It was a sickening feeling when the computer confirmed that George S. was missing. What's worse, the cops thought he was just another guy that had who got tired of the daily grind and split. That was the beginning. Am I the one who blew the whistle? No. The next Monday, I searched for George, but he was gone. There were no records that explained what happened to him. It was another security officer that came to me saying he and some lab workers wanted an off-duty meeting at one of the tunnels. Off-record curiosity took over, and I said, okay. That night, about 9 men showed up. They said they knew they were taking a risk and risking me turning them in, but they wanted to show me some things they thought I should see. One by one, they showed the records that proved many inmates were missing people. There were newspaper clippings, even photos that they had somehow smuggled into the base. They hoped to smuggle them back out without me turning them into the honchos. I could see the fear in their faces as they spoke. One man stated he would rather lose his life by trying than to lose his soul by not doing anything at all. It was that remark that turned the tide. I told them about George and the things I had found out about him. After a few hours, we pledged to attempt to expose the Dulce base and the secret levels. Question: the name Nightmare Hall is descriptive, but surely there was a regular name. What was it called in the manuals? In the manuals, it was called the Vivarium and describes Dulce base as a secured facility for trending bioforms of all type. In their report, it was retold as a private subterranean bioterminal park with accommodations for animals, fish, fowl, reptilian, and humankind. After seeing this park, the name Nightmare Hall is far more accurate than the manual. The accommodations for the inmates at Nightmare Hall fall short of a pretty picture the manual describes. You mentioned one reptilian leader. Do you know anything about him? Like where he is from? Is he from Earth or some other planet? His name means keeper of the laws. They received their name after they search the age of awareness. They do not recognize time as an important factor in being aware the way humans do. Upon their age of awareness, they are, including the age of awareness, They do not recognize time as important, being aware. They are cognitive of the situation and position they are destined to fulfill. At that time, they choose to allow someone to choose their name. Their name will include the position they hold in several personality-chosen letters. Each letter has a personal meaning, known only to the alien and the one that chose their name. Since Karsh's name means keeper of the laws, his name includes cache, memory, or keep. Base word is Akashic word. And fascist not fascist, but this is that alien's name, means law, base, word, fast, or bind. Reptilians choose to be not only private but secretive of the location of their natal place. To them, birth or the emergence of life is considered one of the sacred rites of life. Well, it is to humans too. They consider Earth or Terra their home planet. But several reptilians discuss several star maps. Most of those stars are within the Milky Way. Within the star maps lies the stars and planets of the planet's allegiance. Stars and planets of the planets of the allegiance. Earth being one of those planets in their trade route. If any human asked clear questions about the allegiance, the aliens referred the questions to the Draco. The Draco in turn referred the questions to their supervisor, me. I did not have the information about the stars because information was supplied to a need-to-know basis. I didn't need to know. Did any of the working caste join the revolt? Could you give me some of the names? A few of the reptilian janitors, janitorial crew, let us know that they knew we were attempting to sabotage the working group in the 6th and 7th level. One of them, with the name Shuttle, secretly formed a small group of reptilians with the same mindset as my group. This is interesting right here. Take note of a similarity between the scenario in the NBC miniseries V, which is now available on video cassette after years of non-availability. I have it on good authority that the original author of V idea was an investigator who knew Tom Castello on a personal basis. So that right there, that little quirk was just a little tidbit into what was asked. And pretty much like, hey, V was a soft disclosure from a guy that worked there. So the guy that wrote the show and came up with the ideas really didn't come up with them. It's just something that he saw. Shal took upon himself the danger of informing me. He was as open as possible in this unique situation. On the day I found out about all this, I was inspecting a camera near the exit tunnel. He approached, stooped down, as all tall reptilians are 7 to 8 feet in height, seemingly scraping some non-existent dirt, and he said quietly, "A few of us agreed that you are singular in your interest in missing human reports. If true, walk away, I'll reach you. If it's untrue, destroy my life now." My heart almost leapt out of my chest, but I silently walked toward one of the wide tunnels. For the rest of my life, I remember those words. It was the first time I knew reptilians could have individual thoughts and opinions. Basically, they formed a uniform front with a small variety of interests, or at least that was what we thought. It was a couple days before I heard from him again. As he walked beside me on the 6th level's infamous hall, I heard him say, "Enter the exit tunnel on the 6th level, north, after your shift." The next few hours were long and filled with thoughts of betrayal or worse, but I shouldn't have worried. I contacted one of the original 9 resistant men and let them know just in case Gordon wanted to go with me, but I convinced him to wait a few feet from the exit and pretend he was having trouble with his cart. When I got there, there were 3 of them. Shaw formally introduced Fasha and Humsha. Name base word is Sha to assist. With that, I quickly grabbed Gordon from the hall, and the 5 of us talked and walked in the dark tunnels for 3 hours. After that day, the joined resistance group got bigger and bigger and bolder. Ultimately, it ended when the military assault was initiated via the exit tunnels, and they executed anybody on their list, human or reptilian. We fought back, But none of the working caste had weapons, nor did the human lab workers. Only the security force and a few computer workers had flash guns. It was a massacre. Everyone was screaming and running for cover. The halls and tunnels were filled as full as possible. We believe it was the Delta Force, because of the uniforms and the method they used, that chose to hit the shift change, an effort that killed as many as named on their list. We, to this day, do not know who betrayed us. Gordon Henry ran beside me as we ran into the third-level exit tunnel, and he died when several bullets slammed into his back. I vaporized that assassin and kept running, and I'm still running. Gordon will be remembered. Answer: tell me more about the flash gun. Are they difficult to operate? Or is it like a weapon on Star Trek that can stun or kill on different modes? It is an advanced beam weapon that can operate on 3 different phases. Phase 1, like Star Trek, can stun and maybe kill if the person has a weak heart. On Phase 2, it can levitate anything, no matter what its weight. Phase 3 is serious business. It can be used to paralyze anything that lives, animal, human, alien, or plant. On the higher position on the same mode, it can create a temporary death. I assure you, any doctor would certify that person dead, but their life essence lingers in some strange limbo, some kind of terrible state of non-death. In 1 to 5 hours, that person will revive slowly. First, the bodily functions begin. In a few minutes, consciousness followed with full awareness. In that mode, the alien scientists reprogram the human brain and plant false information. When the person awakes, he recalls the false information as information he gained through life experience. There is no way for a person to learn the truth. The human mind remembers and believes completely the false data. If you attempt to inform them, they would laugh or get angry. They never believe the truth. Their minds forget the experience of reprogramming. You asked if the flash gun is difficult to operate. A 2-year-old child could use it with one hand. It resembles a flashlight with a black glass conical inverted lens. On the side are 3 recessed knobs in 3 curved grooves. Each knob is differently sized. The closer the knob to the hand, the less strength. It's that simple. Each knob has 3 strengths also, with automatic stops at each position. The strongest position will vaporize anything that lives. That mode is so powerful it will leave no trace of what it vaporized. Question: is the weapon called flash gun, or is there a different name for it in the manual? Everyone calls them flash guns, or more commonly the flash, or my flash, when talking about it. In the manual, it is first introduced as Armalux weapon. After that, it is explained as a flash gun. Question: what type of security is found at Dulce? What else is used against espionage or unauthorized entry? Answer: I'll mention a few, but it would be nearly impossible to cover it all. The weapon, besides the flash gun, most used is a form of sonic built in with each light fixture and most camcorders, is a device that could render a man unconscious in seconds with nothing more than a silent tone. At Dulce, there also are still the VCR cameras, eye print and handprint stations, weight monitors, lasers, ELF and EM equipment, heat sensors, motion detectors, and quite a few of other methods. There is no way you could get very far into the base. If you made it to the 2nd level, you would be spotted within 15 feet. More than likely, you would become an inmate and never see the light of day again. If you were lucky, you would be reprogrammed and become one of the countless spies for the ruling caste. Question: according to certain reports, Dulce, is host to other aliens that live in level 5. Is that true? Can the humans freely roam or meet one-on-one in the halls, or is it some type of protocol in effect? There is a protocol from the first time you enter the base, and it must be followed every time you see an alien there. From that working cast to the visiting aliens to the working cast, or the ruling cast, there is a never-ending checklist of rules, laws, and strict protocol. There is never a chance to roam on the 5th level. The alien housing area is off limits to any human. The hub is surrounded by security, arsenal, military, and CIA, FBI sections. The area past the security is one of the most secured areas because it houses so many classified files. The entire east side of the 5th level is off limits except for security personnel holding Ultra 7 security clearance or higher. The garage on the west side of the 5th level requires Ultra 4 clearance. Question: is there proof available that could confirm the allegations of the underground base? Or are we just supposed to believe this? Many people have asked that one. No, I don't expect people to believe with blind faith. There is tangible proof that has been seen, felt, or inspected by quite a few. I'm in no position to go on a lecture circuit and explain to every person on a one-on-one basis. I'm trying to stay alive. All I can do is state again the Dulce is a secret facility, that they worked hard to make sure nobody could find it. If everyone could easily find it, it wouldn't be a secret. I've explained the extreme security methods they use. There is other proof available. There are 5 sets of copies in 5 different boxes in 5 different locations that hold complete proof of everything I've tried to explain. Here is a list of the contents in each box, delivered into a safekeeping of 5 individuals known only to myself, Tom Castello, and to the individual recipient. 1. 27 sheets of 8x10 photographs of aliens, creatures in the cages and vats. 2. 1 silent, candid videotape begins on a computer bank, shows the vats, multi-shots of Nightmare Hall, 2 shots of Grays, 1 shot of the terminal showing a sign saying to Los Alamos, and about 30 seconds of the shuttle train arriving. 3. 25 pages of diagrams, chemical formulas, and schematics of alien equipment. 4. A copy of the new treaty complete with signatures. 5. 2 pages of original alien document signed by Ronald Reagan, back then the governor of California. The original set mentioned above is sealed in 1-piece oxygen free heavy plastic box. That set includes 27 sheets of 8x10, the videotape and nothing on it, the videotape and the original microfilm from which the videotape was copied. 3. The 25 original pages of diagrams with notations, formulas, alien equipment schematics, plus the schematics for my flash gun and my sonic weapon. And 4. The treaty with Reagan's signature, plus 7 other political signatures, and 4 alien signatures. The working flash gun in the box is extremely dangerous. In the wrong hands, there is no limit on the danger it could inflict. That proof must be protected. But when placed in the hands of certain government agencies, it would not be treated as proof for an alien visitation. The government branch knows the truth, and they publicly lie. Think about that. Think about it like this. Do you know a certain proof that George Washington lived? Or do you believe what others have said about him? There is no one alive that saw with their own eyes what is claimed. You judge all you know about this by what others have said. Columbus said there was new land and it was found. I am saying there are aliens in several underground bases in this country, and terrible things happen in those places. If I die before this is proven, search for proof. After all, the Dulce base and other bases are not going anywhere. Unlike UFOs themselves, they are not here today and gone tomorrow. Demand the government admit it. If enough people demand it, they will find a way to explain the base, or at least explain why they must be kept secret. There are many people that work at the base that know me. I am challenging those co-workers to speak up, at least anonymously. Send a letter or a telegram or fax to confirm what I just explained, in the name of the brave men and women and children and aliens who died trying to let the public know what is going on at Dulce. Expose this horrid place before thousands of more individual or innocent people are tortured and die inexplicable deaths. Question: what about the elevators? Do they drop from the surface to the 7th level in a couple of seconds? Do you know anything about them? Are they electrically lifted? Everywhere on the surface world, there were elevators made by Otis Elevator Company. Does that company make the elevators at Dulce? So the next Q&A thing is something very interesting is asked. And we've talked about this actually in the comment section of some of my live streams, which are awesome. I love my live streams because all of you guys are there with me. Someone had asked if people have seen orbs with Bigfoot, right? And they said, have people seen orbs with a Dogman? And I was like, well, Ronald Murphy Jr. has, and so on. But there are orbs seen with these creatures and at other places that are supposedly paranormal in nature. Check this shit out. This is crazy. Is there an alien installation under Groom Lake or Papoose Lake at Nevada test site? And are they conducting biological research at those sites? Answer: most of the stuff at Groom Lake facility deals with defense, but there is a large storage area in the tunnels that holds thousands of alien craft parts, from what I've heard. The medical tests at the Nevada test site are conducted by and for the Navy. Question: according to my sources, the aerospace companies have a secret underground installation in the Tehachapi Mountains, not far from Rosamond, near Edmonds Air Force Base. Insiders refer to the Tehachapi installation as Ant Hill. They are experimenting with advanced technology such as anti-gravity discs. Some have seen basketball-sized floating orbs patrol the facility. Do you have any further information on this? Answer: the California mountains, the Tehachapi, Chocolate, and Shasta all have alien security methods and equipment. The basketball-sized orbs are used for unmanned patrol. They are silent, but when photographing living beings, there's a humming sound. The glow that emits light is magnetic aura. This light is in a visible spectrum. You can see the light, but the light does not reflect off of anything. Question: is there anything you can tell me about the moon, alien installations, atmosphere, U.S. bases? Answer: there's not much I can tell you there. I wasn't in the lunar program. I heard there was a lot of equipment sent to the moon between 59 and 64 under Project Whiteout. Question: what do aliens use magnetism for? Do they use it as an energy source? Is there more we need to know about magnetism? Answer: the aliens use magnetism for everything. They use magnetic as a basic structure for their energy source. The more you learn about magnetics, the better. The human race calls them magnets. The aliens call them lodestars. They have been harvesting lodestars for centuries. Not only that, they want all the magnetic power on Earth, which is very interesting, I think. Question: what do the aliens do with the cow blood and other parts of the mutilated animals? Do they need these fluids for research or survival? Answer: the aliens use the blood and body parts for formula to keep them alive, their food, and for use to growing vats. The artificial wombs, plasma, the amniotic fluid are the two most vital ingredients. Also, the sap from some plants can keep them alive for months. Most of the plants are parasitic in nature, but red grapes and the okra can also be added to the formula to help keep them alive, if they have no regular formula. Female abductees report being inseminated by aliens. Are they trying to hybridize or our species? Yes, they are breeding slave warriors for the upcoming war with the alien race, the Nordic. The serpentine races are in the orbit of the Earth, Venus, and Mars. Abductees have reported that the aliens can pass their bodies and that of an abductee through a glass window. Is this a feat of magic achieved by an advanced technology, or is it psychic power? The aliens have mastered atomic matter. They can go through walls like we can go through water. It's not magic, it's just physics. We can learn to do the same thing. It has to do with controlling the atoms. Are you in communication with benevolent aliens, or do you have contacts that are? If you are, can you tell us how they communicate with their teams? Answer: I am not at liberty to discuss communications with any friendly alien life form. I can tell you there is a friendly factor active in Costa Rica. I am in direct communication with that factor. I am an active member of the Subgalactic League of Costa Rica. This organization, using a small satellite dish, a TV set, and a ham radio equipment, reached this factor. I might suggest that by using similar equipment and a low band frequency, you may reach that same factor. What are the eating habits of the aliens? Are they carnivores? Answer: that depends whether they are one of the gray working caste or reptilian worker caste, or one of the higher developed draconian leaders. Also, the created beings, replicants, type 2 being, or 1, are really strange genetic mixtures. I'll try to cover a little of each. The formula includes amniotic water, plasma, and several other body parts, raw, usually bovine. This mixture is this nearly clear mixture with texture of pureed peach. With the texture of pureed peach is almost in that color. The grays make an attempt not to eat around humans because the odor is very unpleasant to humans. They can spend days or even weeks between feedings. The working caste of the reptilians eat meat, insects, and large variety of plants, including vegetables and fruit. They prefer their meat raw and very fresh, but have learned to enjoy some cooked meat like rare beef steak. Unlike the Greys, they eat frequently and usually carry or send for food on their breaks. The ruling caste is secretive about their foods. They have created several dietary myths that they carefully embellish when a chance arrives. One of their favorite legends involves one of the ancestral ability to eat an entire flock of geese in one sitting. They rarely eat in sight of any other species. They carefully choose their food, then carry their meal to their quarters. It was only when dignitaries arrive at the base do they join in with their meals. They enjoy the same foods we do. And they have been seen secretly munching on freshly found snail. The human-looking replicants eat cooked vegetables. They rely on vitamins and liquid protein for substance. If they have to eat on the surface world, they can eat whatever is served, but as soon as possible, they regurgitate. Their digestive systems frequently fail to process the food. The engineered beings have a special diet. Okay. Question. This is where it gets crazy, guys. Well, it's all been crazy. Question. Growing multi-species beings, blood formulas, and human parts in vats sound like a bad plot to a science fiction movie. The doctors and scientists of the world claim you cannot mix species. Answer. The doctors and scientists on the surface world may say that, but underground, away from prying eyes of ethic boards, they do grow transgenous beings. There is a lot of written material available in libraries. One of the best sources is an easy-to-read book published in 1969 by Prentice Hall International with the title of The Second Genesis, The Coming Control of Life by Albert Rosenfeld. In this book, they discuss animals that may be especially bred to supply genetically reliable organs for people. The use of fetal and embryonic material from which adult-sized organs and tissues may be grown. Question. How are human workers stopped from telling everything about Dulce? Answer. Implants, fear threats to harm their families, EM control, also reprogramming with ELF, low frequency, extremely low frequency, and drugs are the most common methods to encourage the workers not to divulge their locations or daily routine. Question. A construction worker at Ant Hill, the Northrop's Tehachapi base, reports seeing a 10 to 12 foot tall human wearing lab coats. Who are these guys? And are they from the hollowed earth? They are probably inner earth drones or workers. The deeper you get, the stranger the life forms. The tall men are from subterranean levels. Lower yet are dwarfed, deformed forms. I don't trust either of them. There are other forms that both the tall men and the dwarfed men fear and loathe. They are similar to Bigfoot in appearance, but extremely violent and enjoy eating whatever they find while it's still alive. They are subhuman, demented, with an IQ of maybe 15. This is some information shared. Apparently, according to another source, these lower Bigfoot type creatures having more of a resemblance to apes than to more human-like faces and features of much friendlier Sasquatch people who frequent on the surface dwell in wild cavern systems some 6 or 7 miles deep, along with other very dangerous insectoid and quadruped or serpentine reptilian life forms. This is according to a report investigated years ago by a group of spelunkers who reportedly broke into a vast underground labyrinth west and northwest of Cushman, Arkansas, where they encountered these types of creatures, as well as a friendly blue-skinned human who claimed to be the descendant from a family that survived the ancient global deluge by taking refuge in a large ship. These ancient people claimed that their ancestors had come to the Americas and discovered the cavern world, wherein they commenced to establish their own hidden civilization.